Good day to everybody. Today we are going to speak about translation of idioms and cliché. So, in this lecture, we are going to speak about the difference between idioms and cliché and the ways of their translation. I do hope that you are ready to listen to my lectures. First of all, in order to translate the idioms, the first thing, try to find an idiom in the target language which uses the same word, the same structure, and the same meaning. You can see as example, there are three languages and three examples. The warning ham qulog'i bor, ushyan есть уши, the voice have ears. All these three examples have got the same structure, the same meaning, and the same words. The second position or second way of translation is to find just the idiom in the target language that has the same meaning and the same structure but different words. For example, как две капли воды is like as two peas, iki tomchi sudek o'xshas. The meaning are the same, the structure are the same, but words sometimes differ. In Uzbek and Russian they coincide, but in English Russian they don't coincide. Peas and su have got different words, different meaning. The words. The next one, try to find idioms in your language that has different word, different structure, but the same exact meaning. From the three examples you can see, for example, it's raining cat dogs, человек лапсу куйватты, лед как из ведра воды, как из ведра. So you can see the same meaning but two different structures, but the translators give the meaning. The last one, if you cannot find the equivalent in the second language, not different, just words, different structure. For example, козел отпущения, scapegoat. But in Uzbek language, we don't have this kind of expression. So what can we do? We have to give explanation. We have to give some kind of explaining to the reader. So what is козел отпущения in Uzbek language? So next one. Now let's speak about cliché. What is cliché and what is idiom? When we speak about cliché are overused phrases, overused idioms. Idioms are just being overused, become cliché. It is a French, originally it's a French word. It is over repeated phrase. It is overused so often that it loses its original meaning. Phrase which has been used too often that has become meaningless in the language. Sometimes it's difficult to differ cliché from idiom. Now in the further we are going to explain, and here below we try to give Russian scientists phrases or ideas about the cliché for our Russian language learners. For example, you can see from different examples on the screen, popular cliches in English are the following. For example, all that glitters isn't gold. And from this phrase you can see that not everything that glitters is gold. It's often used and becomes cliché in the language. And when we speak about the next cliché, all for one and one for all, or woke up on the wrong side of the bed. This also phrase became cliché while they were overused in the life, in the speech of English-speaking people. Clichés that describe time. Now let's just follow them. For example, time flies. We use very often this phrase, and that's why it becomes, or it is considered to be cliché. The next cliché you want to speak about is, now it appears on the screen, at the speed of light. At the speed of light, or a waste of time. We very often use these clichés in our speech and how to translate them. Then about the ways of translation we will come further. Now let's get acquainted with the list of clichés, and in further we are going to speak about the methods of translation. Clichés that describe people as old as a hills, brave as a lion, weak as a kitten, and so on, are also considered to be clichés, and they have got a literal meaning, and that's why they are considered to be cliché. Very often they are used in our speech. Clichés that describe life, love, and emotions, and you can see on the screens the examples for them. For example, haste makes waste, or all well that ends well, and so on. After my lectures, you can look through the PPT again and look at the examples very carefully. Sometimes they say cliches are sometimes idioms, sometimes idioms are cliches. And common cliches in English language, we can see from the next passage or next slide. At the end of the day, for example, is a cliche, especially it's used in political speech. Now let's read the example. So, but at the end of the day, it is his decision. But here, at the end of the day, is not translated, cannot be translated just doesn't have the same meaning, but it means all and all. It means all and all. Or just when we speak about to be honest. Next example, it doesn't mean the speaker was not all honest before. No, to be honest, just he uses this phrase several times, a lot of times, but he uses just spontaneously, automatically uses the phrase, or 101%. We use very often, and that's why, to be honest, it doesn't mean that we were not honest in our life. We use it automatically, just that's why it became a cliche. Every cloud has its silver, just the PPT is moving so fast, and sometimes I pass or miss some expressions, and that's why you can look through the examples. And sometimes main difference between idioms and cliches, I say idioms have got a figurative meaning, but cliches have got just literal meaning. It's raining cat and dogs, spill the beans are idioms because we cannot translate them word for word. But to be honest, we can translate them literally. To be honest, it's a cliche, but it's raining cat and dogs is an idiom. And so on. Cliches are overused, and before they were idioms, while being overused, they became a cliche. Sometimes they say all idioms are cliches, but not all cliches are idioms. So that's why the big difference between them, we can say meaning. Now, idioms have got figurative meaning, not a literal meaning. Cliches may have both figurative and literal meaning. Some scientists say idioms are considered positively in writing, but cliches are considered to be negatively in writing. So now we can, if we sum up, we can say, it's a cliche. From this example, we can translate it literally, but when we speak, it's a cliche. We often use it. It's not my line. It's not my cup of tea, or it's not my bag. Sometimes we use it не моё. So sometimes we use it as a cliche. We use it doesn't mean that you know it. Yes, or simply you see it means. Sometimes we use it without giving attention to the main meaning of it. We use it in our language. It always just you always use it now in our speech. So when we speak about the tips of translation, when we speak about the method of translation, use a cliche of similar meaning or form. Second, use similar cliche meaning or dissimilar form, or translate by paraphrasing. Thank you.